last week, I don't think there's a chance of a snowball, and you know where, that there's going to be a war break out, a hot war in the Ukraine. I may be wrong. I'll be sad if I'm wrong, but I believe it as sure as my big old butt sitting in this seat that they're not going to go to war. And for a lot of reasons that, to me, common sense dictates that it doesn't. And there's a little bit still left. And especially when you have nuclear weapons in the discussion, if a war breaks out, you hope that common sense prevails. And I think it will. I really do. I think the conflict there is going to not go away for quite some time. The Ukraine and Russia, that whole issue there, and the United States' involvement in that situation is going to go on for quite some time. But I just don't see a war. Just one less thing to worry about. Again, they're talking about Wednesday. I don't know how they get that exact date. I don't think Putin is that dumb. He may be evil, but he's not dumb to leak anything of that sort that they're going to attack on Wednesday during the Olympics. It just does not make sense. And forgive me if I don't trust our intelligence gathering as of late. I love them. I'm a patriot, but hey, stupid is what stupid does, as Forrest Gump's mama said, and our intelligence gathering apparatus needs to step it up. I really don't trust a thing that comes out of there right now. You saw it on full display in Afghanistan. But anyway, I'm getting down the road on actually what was meant to be the second subject. The first subject, Super Bowl. Y'all watch the Super Bowl? I tell you, when the Super Bowl comes around, I always hold my breath because there's been so many Super Bowls with all the hype leading up to it. You know, the big game, man, you're going to have a Super Bowl party, and everybody is just, that's the talk of the sports world. No other sport exists, basically. The NBA's playing, but nobody's paying attention to them. It's Super Bowl, the countdown, and you're just hoping to have a good game, and so many times it's just been a dud. But this one Sunday, whichever team you were rooting for, it was not a dud. I mean, I sat there still at my advanced age saying, dadgum, I would love to have played in one of those. And I never got a chance. And for those of you who were fortunate or unfortunate to see me play, you understand why I didn't get the chance to do that. There's a thing called being able to play the game well that I didn't do well enough as a quarterback to have a chance for that. But it was a good game. And I tell you, is this Cooper Kupp one tough young man? He obviously a gifted receiver, obviously knows the game very well. You watch him run routes. And as a former quarterback, I really, really appreciate that. Somebody who can really run routes and is where he is supposed to be when I'm ready to throw the ball. I can't tell you how many players I've played with. Great talent. I mean, run 4.3 40s. You just leave you in the dust, leave those DBs in the dust. But they didn't know how to run a route. They'd be here one time, there the other time, and you just couldn't depend on them. And many times those speedsters didn't have the hands that made a quarterback confident to go to that individual, especially in the clutch. Now, you get everything. You get speed, you get the hands, you get the intelligence, the route running. Then you have Jerry Rice, okay? And you can understand why Montana and Steve Young always looked to Jerry Rice in the clutch. Well, you saw Matthew Stafford dialing up number 10's number yesterday, and how he continued to get open. It was just absolutely amazing to behold. They were basically, the Cincinnati defense, doing everything they could except outside of mugging him. And actually what they were doing, if it was out on the street, it would be mugging. They were holding him and beating him and hammering him. And this kid just kept coming at him. And the quality, that I just mentioned, the running the routes being where it's supposed to be, relatively fast, not blazing speed, great hands, but his toughness. Being able to, anybody can catch that fade down the sideline when you got the man beat by 3 feet and catch that ball. Okay, but when you're coming across the middle and you know it's going to be a bam play, and you catch that ball, as soon as that ball is in your hands, you're going to have a 250-pound guy who runs a 4.3 40 trying to take your head off, and you're able to hang in there and make that catch. like this young man does. Just absolutely amazing. Now, everybody talks about the touchdown passes that he caught. Absolutely very important in the outcome of that game. But the key point in the game, the turning point I feel, was when it was 4th and 1, and they handed the ball off to him. When you look at that play, there was really nothing there. There really wasn't. They had about a yard and a half, but 4th and 1, that's the toughest yard to get in the National Football League. And I saw this kid go. He took the ball, and immediately he's looking where he can turn that ball upfield, where he can turn upfield, get that yard. And, we see a lot of the receivers and running backs. They'll run to the sidelines, and they'll do a sweep, and you see them go out of bounds, and you think, well, why didn't they cut back? Well, as Deion Sanders, it was a business decision, because you cut back, you're going to get hit because that pursuit's coming after you. And you saw this kid, Cooper Kupp, just cut back with absolutely no regard for his body. He was determined to get that first down, and he got the first down. And I think that was actually the turning point in the game. An otherwise great game. But I have to give a tip of the hat to Joe Burrow. The kid had 51 sacks this year, Jose. That is, I believe, a National Football League record. And when your quarterback is sacked 51 times, you don't normally get within sniffing distance of the playoffs, much less a Super Bowl. You just don't. In fact, you get up there to 25, 30 sacks, that is usually an indication of a team that's going nowhere. The offensive line's not blocking, and if you don't have the offensive line going, because this kid's a very mobile quarterback, so they've had a lot of problems on the offensive line, and it was such an anomaly to see this young man being able to, number one, withstand 51 sacks, because I tell you, it ain't fun. I played in the era with the Purple People Eaters. The first game I ever started in National Football League was against the Super Bowl-bound Minnesota Vikings and the vaunted Purple People Eaters. And I see where they got that name, the Purple People Eaters, and they loved to dine on quarterbacks. And I was one. I was 6'3", 220. I was a lot to dine on. And boy, they did. I got hit so much in that game. They never smack-talked. They would actually, Alan Page, who went on to become, he was one of the Purple People Leaders, he's the right tackle. He went on to become a Supreme Court justice. I'll never forget. He would help me up after he knocked the snot out of me. He'd pick me up and say, way to hang in there, Rook. And in some strange way, that intimidated me even more. These guys were Jim Marshall, Carl Eller, Alan Page, Jeff Seaman, all of these, a lot of people may not know who those people are if you're under 40, but your parents, if they were, or your dad was a football fan or grandpa, they remember them. Remember those guys. But it's not fun to get sacked, and you can't help but expect it after you've been sacked so much. And that's when they, quote unquote, the defense gets inside your head. And when you have a defense get inside your head, you have what's called happy feet. Instead of planning, looking through your receiver as a quarterback, you expect to get hit, so you get a case of the happy feet. Happy feet ain't good. Quick feet, like Peyton Manning, he'd move around. That's good. That wasn't happy feet. That was finding my position to throw feet. Happy feet weren't good. I had happy feet. And I watched Joe Burrow, 51 sacks coming in. He did not have happy feet. This kid is something special. And in the game itself, he got sacked, I believe, 7 times, which I believe was a Super Bowl record. So they got a great nucleus there to build around, a great centerpiece. I mean, it starts with the quarterback, this kid. But, Jose, I kept hearing folks say, well, great for Matthew Stafford. I know my son was pulling for Stafford. He loves Burrow, too. He just really respects them both. He was pulling for Stafford because he took his lumps all those years with the Detroit Lions, played well, all-pro, yet the Lions just couldn't get over the hump. It was his one-shot run to have a chance at the Super Bowl. So they were pulling for the old guy, if you will, although I think he's only like 33, 34. And I heard this a lot yesterday with my buddies and in the gym today. Well, Burrow, he's a young guy. He's going to get another shot. He's going to get a lot of shots. Does the name Dan Marino ring a bell? Most football fans, it would. Dan Marino went to the Super Bowl with the Miami Dolphins his rookie year in the league. They lost, and they were all saying the same thing about Dan Marino. He's a young guy. He's going to have a lot of chances to go back to the Super Bowl. He'll win one. He'll win a couple, probably. He might win 3 or 4. Never made it back to a Super Bowl again. Making it to the Super Bowl is hard. It's really, really hard, especially with this massive changeover of personnel every year. It's tough to get, 46, 47 guys on the same page, keep them healthy, and make it to the Super Bowl. Believe me, this Tom Brady thing, him and Belichick, 10 Super Bowls, 1 and 7, that may never happen in my grandkids' lifetime. That is not the rule. Trust me. So this kid, he made it to the Super Bowl. I hope he understands what an accomplishment that was, but there's absolutely zero guarantee that the Bengals will ever be back. They could. They have some great players on defense. It seems like a smart organization. And they have, again, had this great quarterback in Burrow. But, again, it is really very, very difficult. If you look at the teams that have made it to the Super Bowl, very few have won the Super Bowl. You have even fewer that have won 2, and even fewer to go 3 or 4. I think there's only 3 teams: Pittsburgh Steelers, the Green Bay Packers, of course, the Patriots, 49ers. But you got, 32, 34 teams in the league. Houston Texans never been to the Super Bowl. Cleveland Browns never been to the Super Bowl. You can go down like Phoenix Cardinals, great quarterback Kyler Murray, although they're having some trouble right now. They've never been to the Super Bowl. So a lot of great quarterbacks never make it there. Okay, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back and talk a little bit more about the Super Bowl and the social messages that were sent via this spectacle called the Super Bowl in the pregame, the halftime, and up in those sky boxes. Some interesting stuff going on there. This is Alan Autry, No Retreat, and we're glad that you're joining us and hope you'll come back. Happy Valentine's Day. See you in a bit. Hey, social media folks, members of Autry's Army starting to grow. That's kind of, I just threw that out there one day, members of Autry's Army, and it seems to stick. A lot of people all seem to like that. Well, I love it too. We're an army with a mission to keep America strong, and to do that, we have to always understand those 3 basic principles that this country was founded on. It's God, family, and country. And we have to make sure that we have no retreat from those 3. And we're willing to treat people with respect who disagree with that and want to tear those things down. But we have to be willing to defend them to our last breath if need be. Because we owe it not just to ourselves and those who came before us who fought hard to keep those principles as guiding principles of our country, but also our kids and grandkids down the line. So anyway, I'm just so happy to have you because we're all in the same army. And again, with this show, I wish you would give us a call. Because, you're what makes it. I want this to be your voice. If you ever wanted to call into a show and feel, well, I'm kind of embarrassed, don't worry about it. Just come from your heart how you feel about a certain situation. And what's neat about that, we post this on Facebook. You can go on the archives on KXEX 1550, best talk in town, by the way. And you can have that, your kids, grandkids, and listen to it. And that's kind of neat. And they might want to know how mom, dad, uncles, aunt felt about certain issues. And you got it kind of recorded for posterity there. So I encourage you, like I said, your voice means something. Don't try to, Be anything other than yourself, and that's enough, because your opinion means as much as anybody else's. And so anyway, I hope you'll take the time to give us a call when the Spirit moves you. We come back, we're going to talk about all the rich folk that were at the game. I don't see too many po folks out there. I was there. Man, did you see what the tickets are? I mean, it's just obscene. Kind of eager to get to the subject. I'll wait for our radio folks to come back on. I usually have, the reason I'm fiddling around, usually have a place to put my foot, but I think I was supposed to put a covering there to protect the equipment. I was putting my foot in the equipment there. So I'm going to bring in a little stool I'll have there, but that's why I'm fidgeting around today.
So you're the one that's been messing with the microphone volume.
It's got to be. It's got to be. Well, I look out there and I go, well, what? Then I put two and two together. Oh, okay. All right. My big old size 13s have been going in there messing things up.
All right, we're back.
All righty.
You're listening to the Alan Autry Show on the best talk in town. Talk Radio 1550 KXEX. Call Alan now, 559-899-1550.
And welcome to Alan Autry No Retreat. Every once in a while, I sent this song to Jose last night. I said, if you had a chance, lead in with this tomorrow. Social media can't hear it. It's called A Game of Love. Every once in a while, I like to just send something to our gender-neutral folks out there that kind of just drives them up the wall. This is called, not when a man loves a woman, The Game of Love. The purpose of a man is to love a woman, and the purpose of a woman is to love a man. Amen. Amen. Nothing gender neutral about that. All right, let's get back to Super Bowl a little bit more. And all the, oh God, what do they call it? What's the catchphrase they say now? Virtue signaling. The little virtue signaling out there. I didn't see the halftime show. I didn't see the pregame. I guess they sang national anthem other than the American national anthem, which rubbed a few people the wrong way, quite a few people. Halftime show, which was going to feature, and it was Roger Goodell's tip of the hat to the African American community, to have a rap and hip hop themed, which is fine. But I thought a little strange, if you were going to tip your hat to the African American community. Aren't you assuming that every African-American black person in America likes rap, hip-hop? I know many, many who don't. They like the blues, they like gospel, some like rap, some like hip-hop. But to kind of build this thing as some of the Philippas have and some homage to the black community, I think is, again, a little bit of that soft racism stuff that, you know, when you try to pander, you try to be politically correct, you wind up stepping on a certain part of your body, and it just comes out. But anyway, some people didn't like it. They thought Snoop Dogg was out doing something. But none other than Candace Owens, apparently, through my good source, Matt White. Like I said, I didn't see I've got it taped or videoed. I'll go back and watch it sometime. Candace Owens said it was a great, good music there if you liked hip-hop and liked rap music. But did you notice who was there when they went up into the shots of the folks? Yeah, yes. All right. It's a Super Bowl. It's going to have a lot of celebrities there, a star-studded event, as they say. And, boy, they came out in mass. You saw shots of Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck up there dancing and grooving to the game, and LeBron James, Emmitt Smith, and all sorts of other celebrities and rich folk. And you dig in a little bit, and did you see what the going rate was for tickets for this game? Not the 50-yard line tickets, not the real super duper high end Bill Gates type tickets, but the nosebleed tickets. You know what they cost? You ready for this? $8,000 each. Now, that's not scalpers charging that off the internet. That's the National Football League charging that amount. $8,000. Now, it seems to me if you cared about the plight of the disadvantaged, if you cared about people of color, in particular our youth, and providing them with equal opportunity when you see in this great country all the injustice, as Goodall has said, and the NFL has pointed out. What better place and time to exhibit that in a real way than to say, you know what, on the biggest event we have every year, in our showcase, we're going to give 5,000 Super Bowl tickets to young, disadvantaged kids from our inner cities. We're going to give 6,000 to young, disadvantaged kids from the barrios around the country. We're going to give it, 5,000. We're still, 15,000? Big stadium. Big stadium there. To Native Americans, kids that may have never been off of the reservation there, or kids that never been out of the bars, never been out of South Central or places in New York City, the difficult areas there, and treat them to the Super Bowl and show shots of them up there if you really, really care. How many of those kids or their families could afford $8,000 a ticket? Now, let Jethro cipher here a little bit. If you just have a small family of, say, 4, husband, wife, mother, father, 1 daughter, 1 son, how much? 8, 16, 24, $32,000 just for the tickets. Not to mention an arm and a leg they will cut off you to park. And God forbid you want to buy a Coca-Cola or some popcorn for you kids. But, the hypocrisy, the pandering by Roger Goodell and National Football League, to me, is just sickening. I don't know any other adjective. It makes me physically react in the pit of my stomach when I see this condescension. You say you want to help, here's your chance to help, but really, it's all about the high rollers. LeBron James, you're up there. Why didn't you have like 4 or 5 kids from your poor neighborhoods in Ohio? You go down the line. People think, well, you're picking on them, Alan. Well, you just got to walk your talk. If you're going to talk a big game, you got to walk a big game. If you keep your mouth shut, and just don't get out there and tell people how bad people, how much a racist everybody else is, and cops there trying to keep one kid from stabbing another young African-American girl to death, and has to make a horrific decision to shoot that assailant, and has to live with that. And you so freely just post a picture of this young officer who had to make that horrible decision and say, you're next, as if you care. And here's your chance to really show it. Now, you're up there with your son. That's great. I'll take my son to the Super Bowl. But here's a chance to really make a real big statement to the world that you really care about oppressed people, disadvantaged kids. So anyway, I just thought it was, when I saw that number, $8,000 freaking dollars a ticket. That's what gives capitalism a bad name. I'm all free market. Believe me, the free market system, and this is irrefutable. You can go look it up, get every bit of data you can, has lifted more people, poor people, out of poverty and given them a chance at a better life than any system ever, with all of its flaws. Any other system devised by man, capitalism, free market system, has done that. Contrast that to Marxism, communism, has created nothing but poverty for the masses and extreme riches for the elite. And that's true in every communist country, every communist regime, whether it be Cuba, communist China, Venezuela, and go on and on, on and on. But there is, I think Ben Franklin said it, these systems we're putting together, the freedoms we're putting forth in the Constitution, and these free market systems will only work with a moral people if you have a conscience and you value those freedoms and you don't let the freedom to pursue your dream economically, and B, you have a pathway to have a chance, no guarantee, but you have a chance to achieve your dreams, to go places you felt you could never go, that nobody in your family's ever been able to go. You work hard, you get educated, you play by the rules. Again, you work hard. You got a real good chance of achieving the American dream, including the economic American dream. But if you don't watch it, that can turn into absolute, as Mama used to say, pure D.O. greed. And that's not good. It's not good for the individual, the soul of the individual. And you get too much of that going on, it's not good for the collective soul of a nation or a state or whatever. It's, and what I've seen is the NFL has just become a very pandering, very insincere, false, fraud, greedy organization that cares about one thing, and it's the popularity of their sport. And anyway, I hadn't planned on going that far on this, but dadgummit, why don't you give Goodell National Football League? I don't care if you have a lottery system. I don't care. Just have a lottery system where you don't just give away 10 tickets or 100 tickets. And don't let Coca-Cola buy up a bunch and then do their promotions over there. You, the National Football League, have a few thousand tickets that the normal Joe and Jane have a chance to get. Put it together. It'd be fun. It would really, I think, help you, Roger Goodell, and National Football. You'd darn sure feel better about yourself. And just break down this wall of this. It's just unsavory to see the biggest game in the world only available to the elite. And you singers out there, Snoop Dogg, who always sings about the oppressed people in your neighborhood, Dre, all these folks, Eminem, who decides he's going to kneel after he does his thing. How about bringing this up as a subject? Where are all the people in the stands that you're singing for, that you're singing about to tell their story of the oppressed? Poor blacks, poor Hispanics, poor white people, poor Asians. Go down the line, doesn't matter. Just poor folks that haven't been advantaged like that. You sing about it all the time. You say you care. Yet no, they pay you a few million. You're on the halftime show, then you're off doing your Tecate commercials. You're just as much a part of the problem. You're just as much of an oppressor as the oppressors that you're purportedly against with your music and everything else. So we're going to take another quick break. When we come back, I'm going to put your mind at ease a little bit more. I'm going to go out on the limb here with the Ukraine thing, because I know a lot of families that have people kids in the military, mothers and fathers in the military. They're worried about this. And if you listen to Joe Biden and the United States intelligence forces, there's reason to be worried. But when we come back, I'm gonna say a few words on this. I don't think there's a foundation to be worried at this point, and I hope to God I'm right. This is Autry, No Retreat. We'll be right back. How about those truckers in Canada? I think the authorities are starting to come in and kind of disperse it a little bit. No incidents so far. I don't see any breaking news up on our two screens here. We have Fox News and CNN going side by side. Fair and balanced on the Autry show. And Autry's army would not have it any different than that. Oh, did you hear about that Army report criticizing the president on the withdrawal from Afghanistan, saying that these generals all recommended that Biden not do what he did? Lloyd Austin, Mark Milley, Blinken were all part of this crazy cabal that decided to take out the military before the citizens, and every other thing that went wrong there. Well, you had generals, very knowledgeable people, generals that were on the ground there that knew the situation, practically begging them not to do it that way. And so they weren't going to be thrown on the bus on this, so they came out with a report, very scathing report. Of course, Biden has pushed back and said he doesn't agree with the report. Again, happy Valentine's Day. Oh, yeah. I don't know how it is where you all live, but, man, you have to make a reservation way in advance if you want to get in on Valentine's Day. And flowers, you better pick those up early, too.
$30.
Okay, we'll go back on radio in about 10 seconds.
You're listening to the Alan Autry Show on the best talk in town. Talk Radio 1550 KXEX. Call Alan now. 559-899-1550.
I don't know if Jose, I don't know what's wrong with my brain, folks. Inside, they did a movie, Inside the Mind of John Malkovich. It was a very funny thing. The actor, John Malkovich. Very interesting. They don't want to do that story with me. I'm just sitting there listening to that song, and I'm thinking about Xi Jinping and Putin doing the twist together. I just got to, honesty, I told you, I'm getting too dang old. Something pops in my mind, I'm going to tell you, I couldn't stop laughing. You're going to wonder why he's laughing. I'm going to make something up. Well, I heard this joke today. I'm thinking about Putin and Xi Jinping doing the twist out there. Better to do the twist than get into a war, right? Yeah, that's my saying. Better the twist, better to listen to Chubby Checker than the warmongers. So that's where I stand on this. Hey, before we go to this Ukraine crisis, did you see the commercial, Super Bowl commercial? I thought they kind of lacked this year. Jose, did you see them? Did you watch them all? I really like, and I think the ad people just try too hard to be clever. Earlier Super Bowls, it just seemed like it was more free flowing, just funnier. And there were some kind of clever. I missed the Larry David one. I guess that's getting a lot of play, a lot of criticisms for some reason. So I got to watch that, go online and watch it. But my favorite one was the Austin Powers deal. I have been waiting for an Austin Powers. It would be 3 or 4. And the Myers, they got some kind of legal thing going on preventing him from having another. He wants to do another sequel, but it's tied up in some kind of litigation. But you talk about just some escapist humor, silly, mindless humor. Nothing beats those Austin Power movies. And they had Mike Myers on there. If you saw the commercial, bear with me, but some folks hadn't. You got to go online and see it. I'm sure it's online now. But they had Rob Lowe over there with his eye patch, and Austin Powers' kid there. The kid had a baby, so he's got a grandkid there. He says, "I will name him Mini Baby." And he gets in a fight with his son because they have that dysfunctional. Anyway, you got to go watch it. I just yucked from the beginning to end on that thing. So that was head and shoulders. My favorite one was the Austin Powers commercial. Okay, from Austin Powers to the Ukraine and some superpowers going head to head. Okay, here's why I don't believe we're going to see a war in Ukraine. First of all, Vladimir Putin may be everything you think he is, and what I may think he is. He was the former head of the KGB. Get it. He remembers the glory days of the Soviet Union when they controlled all of Eastern Europe. We're winning every gold medal at the Winter and Summer Olympics. They were basically, at a period of time, the dominant power in many ways in the world. The United States was in some instances, but Soviet Union. I get that. He yearns for those days to return. I agree. But he's not a dumb man. And if you think the man is dumb, you just haven't followed him. I've made a habit of following for the last 15, 20 years. Just following how he does things. And I see a man who is probably at the top of his game in terms of being able to manipulate world opinion and manipulate situations by using the most powerful tool that any leader has ever had available to them. And that's the media and video, YouTube, being able to go on and tweet, all of this stuff. He has said to himself, it's obvious, I can either curse the darkness and say, I'm not going to do this, meaning use the social media, use the videos out there, or I can become a master of it. He's chosen the latter. It makes absolutely zero sense. You got to follow this. For him to have the meeting with Xi Jinping, I guarantee you, one of the things he said, if you're going to do this, if you're going to go into the Ukraine, Vladimir, don't do it till after the Olympics. So that's a done deal. Could it be that Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin, who announced this whole new era of cooperation, that in that era of cooperation and in that arena, could it include mutual support for Russia taking over Ukraine and communist China taking over Taiwan? It is obviously in the realm of possibility, and many would say it was a probability. But they're very methodical, both Putin and Xi Jinping, in what they do. In their eyes, in Putin's eyes, he's seeing what's happening in America. He's seeing America in turmoil. He's never seen America with a weaker leader. Obama started out with Obama. Hey, Obama's saying, I'm drawing a line in the sand to Syria. If you cross here, holy hell's going to come down on you. Well, Syria crossed the line. Nothing happened. That went on for 8 years. They withdrew, Obama and Biden, from Iraq quickly, recklessly, which against the advice of his military advisors. And this void that was created was filled by ISIS. And we know what happened after that. The beheadings left and right, just thousands of people killed needlessly. If Obama and Biden would have withdrawn in a orderly, powerful fashion and done it the way the true military advisors who care, who really know the situation, if they would listen to them. Then you flash forward to Afghanistan. Same sort of reckless, ill-thought-out withdrawal. I call it a surrender. And with the same results, except it just happened quicker. We had 13 of our best soldiers blown up, killed, 13 Gold Star families created there, which didn't have to happen. Putin's watching all that. He sees all this. He knows that America is not strong. He knows the American public is rising up against this Biden administration and their lack of not only professionalism, but just common sense. He knows that he and China have the Western countries, all of them in Europe, pretty much at their beck and call, bowing to them. In Russia, it is for the oil, for the gas, and for China, it's every other economic factor you can think of. All of those European countries owe China. China's bought a ton of debt in Western Europe, just like they bought here in America. That's why you're seeing this kind of lukewarm, if even that, response from Western Europe. And key country, there's Germany. So goes Germany, so goes Western Europe. Germany has just signed a deal for the Nord Stream pipeline to get this natural gas from and oil from Russia. That's the gas station. That's Germany's gas station, as it is for many of the countries, France, Italy, all of them. They need that to keep their economy going, and Russia provides a great portion of that. So they're not going to step up and put it all on the line and go to war for who? The Ukraine? I mean, still there hasn't been a case made for Ukraine coming out of Western Europe that would get the people of Europe. For this guy, the new chancellor in Germany, Olaf Scholz, to say, hey, we're going to be there. We're going to put troops on the border, and we're going to rally the rest of Europe to put 150,000 troops on the Ukraine border to face off with your 150,000 troops, Putin. You're not seeing that. Putin's seeing this lack of response. He sees Biden sending 8,500 troops there. That's like bringing a knife to a gunfight. It's just not going to happen. And then this final thing about the concern about the Ukraine become a member of NATO. And by the way, if you saw today, Putin said there is an opening for a negotiated settlement to this. And as his foreign minister, they did a video of him and his foreign minister talking about this, and he released it all over the world, going over different options. Very creative, I think, very effective. And the foreign minister said, we have other options. So you got this guy who's been vilified by the Biden administration and maybe justified, but he knows how to play those videos. He knows how to manipulate. Coming across in this video is a very level-headed, pragmatic leader looking for a diplomatic solution. And coming out of that and knowing that NATO, and some people may not know this, and Laura, hang on, we're going to go to you in just a minute. There's no chance in the Ukraine becoming a member of NATO in the near future. I'm talking about decades. For number one, there's a kind of a civil war going on there right now with 35,000 Russian separatists, Ukraine separatists backed by Russia, going on right now. They got that war going on. And there is a bylaw in NATO that you can't become a member of NATO if you have a war like that, if you have a rebellion going on in your country. It's got to be tranquil waters, everything's under control, democracy strong and present. You got all of that, then we may consider you as a member of NATO. And Russians have said, Putin said, look, if you make that declaration, Western Europe and the United States, that Ukraine won't become a member of NATO, hey, that's big to me. I mean, back off. So that's out there. And I just don't see it. And our administration comes out and said, they named a date, Wednesday. Day after tomorrow, Russia's supposed to invade Ukraine. Now, again, I may be wrong, but I tell you, if I was a betting man, I'd say there's just no way there's a better chance of me naming my next kid Osama bin Laden than there is for the Russians to invade Ukraine. Let's go to Laura on the line. Laura,
Hello.
are you there? But
I'm here.
am I reading? I hear you. Am I reading this right on the teleprompter? Is it your birthday today?
It is my birthday today. My mother was in the PX buying my father a Valentine's card, and her water broke.
Oh my goodness! You got a lot going on this Valentine's Day. Happy birthday! Happy Valentine's Day.
I got an early birthday present. The first family that I helped get out of Afghanistan. My sponsorship was approved.
Oh,
my
fantastic.
resettlement plan has been approved, and I was notified an hour and a half ago that they will be here in 90 to 120 days.
Oh, man. Folks, a lot of you may not know, Laura and I communicate off the radio show and off the social media program via email, and she's been working her you-know-what off for months and months and months to try to help this family from Afghanistan. Of course, she tries to help a lot of people, but this one particular family just stole her heart. It didn't look good for a while. And she's just, but this is what we're talking about right now. This family has made it. They're through, and they're going to be in the United States, right?
They're going to be right down the street from me.
Oh, my goodness. Fantastic. Oh, congratulations. That's fantastic. Hey, what do you think about this Ukraine? Is rootin' tootin' Vladimir Putin going to invade Ukraine?
No, he's not. Because this is the thing. If Vladimir Putin really wanted to invade Ukraine, he would have done so. They've been fighting in Donbass since 2014.
Yeah.
If he really wanted to take it, he would go through the Donbass and continue and just hammer them and take that piece and go. What he's trying to do is exactly what he's getting exactly what he wanted. Did you see him when he was going into that meeting with Macron? He looked like he was going into the champagne room at a strip club. He was so happy because what was happening? The entire Western world is groveling, trying to get him to agree to something.
Yeah, I think he's just sitting there laughing.
Everybody.
Wherever our intelligence gathering agencies are getting their info, that he has the day and the time that Vladimir Putin is going to invade. It's ridiculous. Of course he leaked that. He's got to just be laughing, having some vodka with his friends going, can you believe these idiots are actually taking the bait and going out there?
Probably didn't even say that. Anthony Blinken probably wrote it on a cocktail napkin.
Well, let me ask you this, though. What advantage does this administration, the Biden administration, get if they name the day, they say it's imminent, getting every American, and say, you better get out of there. You better get out of Kiev. Here they come. Go. You run for your life. Everybody does that. People have jobs there. They got families there. They run out of there, and nothing happens. What do they gain?
It's Afghanistan all over again, Alan. 6 hours, exactly to the minute, 6 hours before the evacuations on Afghanistan time were set to begin. They were in the situation room, all of them with their thumbs up their butts, trying to figure out what they were going to do. 6 hours before the evacuations were set to begin, they had no plan. None.
Yeah, it just seems to me.
We don't have a bunch of monkeys up there. We'd be better off.
Well, you know as well as I do, one of the standard traditional political ploys to get some agreement, some approval ratings is to create a crisis that's not there, and then you get credit for diffusing the crisis. But I think this is what they've tried to do here, the Biden administration. I think it's going to backfire because I think it's so ridiculous. It's going to
backfire because he's surrounded by people who have never actually won anything. When you get an award for just showing up, you have no idea what it means to win something or to have to really earn something or to have to work for something. So when you have a bunch of idiots like that surrounding you, telling you how you're supposed to do this, you're going to fail miserably.
Yeah, and then you have the leader of the country who you say is going to be invaded, which means that, hey, buddy, you're probably going to be taken eventually, arrested, and put in a gulag someplace, if not hung. And you need to cozy up to us, and you need to get behind us. And you got Zelensky, the president, going, "Would you just please cool it? It's not you're really scaring people." And at this point, there's not reason to do it. You got the president of Ukraine telling,
I told you before. Putin's plan is to get the Eastern Bloc back. Not in the same way that it was, where it's completely absorbed into Russia. But he wants Hungary, Romania, and all these other countries to be very similar, to have vassal status very similar to Guam, Puerto Rico.
Kind of like what China's doing. Exactly what.
Territorial autonomy.
Yeah, exactly what China's doing. You have the countries. Yeah, exactly.
Because he's using China as a means to strong arm them. Like, well, let's take Romania, for example. Romania is divided on whether they want to remain an independent country or they want to go back into the fold of Russia.
We got 28 seconds. We got 28 seconds, Laura. We got 20 seconds. Oh, there it is, the music. Man, I got to get you on earlier, man. I got to get you on earlier. If you can call back tomorrow, I appreciate it. I want you to finish that thought if you can. Happy Valentine's Day, Laura Fisher. Happy birthday, Laura Fisher. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody out there. God bless you. God bless America. Good Lord willing, Creek don't rise. We're going to do it on Tuesday. Bye-bye now.
Again, happy trails to you. Keep smiling.